there's a $5 million prize for anybody that can prove the election data that I have from the 2020 election is false.
When you had the idea for the Prove Mike Wrong challenge, did you have an expectation you might have to pay out $5 million?
No, why would I have that? Because I already had validated.
So you didn't have any concerns that someone might win the Prove Mike Wrong challenge?
No, because they would have to show it wasn't from 2020, and it was.
So I talked to Mike Lindell very briefly today. He has vowed to me that he is going to be taking this to court. I also talked to the attorneys who worked on this. They're very hopeful that the payout is going to come from this. Robert Zeidman was a little less hopeful. He's like, I think Mike Lindell is going to drag this on. I'm not really sure if I'm ever going to see this money.
This is some pretty devastating news from MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell, who's just been ordered by an arbitration panel to pay $5 million to a cybersecurity expert named Robert Zeidman for debunking his data related to the 2020 presidential election. Lindell challenged anyone who could disprove his 2020 election conspiracy theory data, offering a $5 million reward to anyone who was successful. Zeidman signed up, and I hope you're sitting down for this, showed that Lindell's data was complete nonsense. The arbitration panel looked at the contract involved and ruled that the data that Lindell provided had nothing to do with the 2020 election. Shockingly, Lindell is vowing to stall this by appealing it in court for as long as possible. I wonder where he got that strategy from. And this isn't the first time that Mike Lindell has thrown his money away because of his tenuous grasp on reality. Here's what he recently told Steve Bannon about how much he spent fighting the 2020 election results.
Are you saying you don't think they had your back? You spent $40 million trying to get sorted the 2020 election and all the election theft for 2022?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you think they had your back?
Absolutely not. And they didn't have the country's back. They proved it in Arizona. Here we are in Arizona, and they come down here and they were going to put all this money into what happened here in the midterms. And then as soon as they found out that it was the relief was a new election, they backed out and they headed over to Georgia. Let's head over to Georgia and raise more money, and another loss. It's 5 Fs in a row. 18 Fs.
Is the rumors true? Are you putting up the money here for Kerry Lake and all of the fights here? Or is it RNC?
No, I am.
You are.
The Lindell Offensive Fund, the Lindell Legal Offense Fund.
$40 million. These people just cannot stop shooting themselves in the foot and then blaming the other side for their own incompetence. And bear in mind, Mike Lindell is the same person who urged voters to wait to vote until the very last day possible because of some conspiracy theory idea that if all Republicans just voted on election day, then suddenly whoever's rigging the election wouldn't have time to do the math to find out how many fake ballots they need to add to their totals.
Give us your perspective. How do we win here? Because we got to win. How do we win, and how do we ensure we're not cheated out of it, sir?
Well, the number one thing that everybody can do is vote day of. We showed that with Kerry Lake in Arizona. You need to vote the same day. Everything else, we're going to be watching the algorithms. We'll be watching the polling, the good pollers, not the ones that are lying, so that they can do the steal. But we can overrun the algorithms. Everybody has to get out and vote. Everybody, And same day. Don't vote 2 days early. Don't vote 1 day early. Vote same day. It's a lot harder for them when they don't have names to pull from the voter rolls with these machines and computers the same day. And know that if we all get out and vote and overrun the algorithms, and even the ones we don't, we are watching this time. We're watching everything.
Yeah, turns out that limiting your entire party to one single day of voting isn't exactly the best strategy for turning out as many of your voters as possible. And then after they shoot themselves in the foot, they turn around and blame the Democrats for some nefarious conspiracy because there's always someone out to get them. They can never simply accept the fact that their own stupidity is what causes them to end up in the situations that they're in the first place. And this $5 million payout for Mike Lindell is just another example of that. His own arrogance and lunacy got in the way of facts and reality. But here's the thing. Contracts and law don't care about your delusional conspiracy theories and desperation for cable hits. When you enter into a binding agreement, it doesn't matter how much you claim everything is rigged. And this, by the way, is one of the main problems with MAGA. They traffic so deeply in their alternate version of reality that is so diluted, so bizarre, and so detached that when they're actually faced with things like laws and numbers and the objective counting of ballots, they can't fathom that the majority of us who aren't in their cult don't care how much they scream and lie. In the words of a certain conservative, facts don't care about your feelings. But to put it simply, this is how everyone who's not in the MAGA cult views Mike Lindell.
Cost us money and a lot of money because we are direct response. So we don't have that now, Brandon. We don't have that. So we've got to hope that they pick it up.
Love you, man. You a true patriot? No. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Keep fighting, man. Keep fighting. Don't let the libtards call you names. Don't let them call you an ethnically dubious pillow pusher. Don't let them call you a marginally brain-addled, corrupt goofball. Well, you're doing great. Don't let them call you names, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is be strong. Don't let them push you around or call you names like a completely clueless, crazy old man who believes everything he reads on the internet. Don't let them call you names. Stay strong. You're doing great. Love you, man.
That's what the rest of us see. A whack job sitting in public screaming about made-up bullshit who may or may not be wearing pants. At least if I'm not wearing pants, I'm never dumb enough to do it in public. And this isn't the only election-denying lunatic who's now facing the consequences of his own actions. Dominion and Smartmatic are both in the process of a series of lawsuits against a whole range of individuals and entities. We learned this week that Fox and Dominion settled for a massive $787 million for their defamation lawsuit, but Dominion's also reportedly pursuing litigation against Newsmax, One American News, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and yes, even Mike Lindell. Smartmatic is reportedly pursuing litigation against Fox, Newsmax, One American News, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and they're even going after Fox's Janine Pirro, Marita Bartiromo, and Lou Dobbs. And Fox could finally face a lawsuit from their own shareholders, meaning they could soon be in even more dire financial straits. I asked former federal prosecutor Glenn Kirshner about this in my legal series, The Legal Breakdown.
It could mean insolvency. I mean, you have to wonder if Fox can weather this financial storm. Think about this. Dominion sued for $1.6 billion. Now, presumably that had something to do with the valuation of Dominion voting systems and the amount of financial damage, including future earning potential, Fox's defamatory lies did to Dominion. Well, you know what? Smartmatic is suing for $2.7 billion. So if you figure Fox had to settle a $1.6 billion lawsuit for nearly $750 million. How much are they going to have to pay out to make the Smartmatic suit go away? And here's the thing. Fox is now operating from a position of extreme weakness because once they settled with Dominion, Smartmatic is going to be so emboldened to go high, to go hard, and to really wring every last penny out of Fox. So you've got another settlement that is likely in the offing, the Smartmatic suit. You also have shareholder suits being brought by Fox's own shareholders against the Fox Corporation. You've got one of Tucker Carlson's former producers suing Fox. I mean, you really have to ask yourselves, can Fox weather this financial storm?
All of which is to say, there's obviously a lot more news to come with all of this, but one thing that we learned this week is that even if we have to wait far too long for accountability for Trump and his entire MAGA network of supporters, they are already facing massive financial consequences. Because the best part of all these people fucking around is that now comes the part where they're finding out. Before you go, I need your help. I'm right on the cusp of hitting 2 million subscribers, so please help me grow this channel so the progressive media ecosystem grows by hitting the subscribe button right here on the screen. I also started a Spanish channel so we can finally start regaining some of that lost ground among Spanish speakers, so if you want to help support those efforts, you can hit that subscribe button. And finally, if you listen to podcasts and you want to support mine, you'll find a link to that on the screen as well. Thanks so much for watching.